Harleen, would you, I don't know whether you're a host or not, if you could allow people to come in. I think there's a few people on the list.
Yep, I'll do that.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's broadcasting now because I see that flashing thing. Vasanta, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm just live streaming just.
Okay, are you happy now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start. So I'm mute. So
Recording, Ahmed. You have to do the recording.
oh, I thought you were going to do the recording as well.
Okay. Colin, will you be able to do the recording, Colin?
Yeah, let me just see if I have that tool.
Because the live streaming is still working, it's not.
Yeah, I can record.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So please mute yourself unless you're going to read the readings. So we're going to
one second, Ahmed, before you start.
Yeah.
Can you stop sharing for a minute? I think this live streaming is having some problem.
The lines are flashing, so it says that probably is the stream.
Okay. But on my
Next
screen,
to the stop share, if you look, there is flashing.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So I will start two prayers in chant, and then bring on the screen the readings. And so if you are the reader of that writing, please unmute and read. Unless you are reading, please unmute. We have a technical problem here. Okay. Let's go on share again because I didn't press the button for sound.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Strive that your actions day by day may be beautiful prayers.
Strive that your actions day by day may be beautiful prayers. Turn towards God and seek always to do that which is right and noble, enrich the poor, raise the fallen, comfort the sorrowful, bring healing to the sick, reassure the fearful, rescue the oppressed, bring hope to the hopeless, shelter the destitute. Strive that your actions day by day may be beautiful prayers. Turn towards God and seek always to do that which is right and noble, enrich the poor, raise the fallen, comfort the sorrowful, bring healing to the sick, reassure the fearful, rescue the oppressed, bring hope to the hopeless, shelter the destitute. Strive that your actions day by day may be beautiful prayers. Turn towards God and seek always to do that which is right and noble, enrich the poor, raise the fallen, sick, reassure the fearful, rescue the oppressed, bring hope to the hopeless, shelter the destitute. Strive that your actions day by day may be beautiful prayers. Turn towards God and seek always to do that which is right and noble, enrich the poor, raise the fallen, comfort the sorrowful, bring healing to the sick, reassure the fearful, rescue the oppressed, bring hope to the hopeless, shelter the destitute.
O thou merciful God, O thou who art mighty and powerful, O thou most kind Father, these servants have gathered together, turning to thee, supplicating thy threshold, desiring thine endless bounties from thy great assurance. They have no purpose save thy good pleasure. They have no intention save service to the world of humanity. O God, make this assemblage radiant, make the hearts merciful, confer the bounties of the Holy Spirit, endow them with a power from heaven, bless them with heavenly minds, increase their sincerity, so that with all humility and contrition they may turn to thy kingdom and be occupied with service to the world of humanity. May each one become a radiant candle, may each one become a brilliant star, may each one become beautiful in colour and redolent of fragrance in the kingdom of God. O kind Father, confer thy blessings, consider not our shortcomings, shelter us under thy protection. Remember not our sins, heal us with thy mercy. We are weak, thou art mighty. We are poor, thou art rich. We are sick, thou art the physician. We are needy, thou art most generous. O God, endow us with thy providence. Thou art the powerful, thou art the giver, thou art the beneficent. Baha'i Faith, Abdul Baha.
Can you read, please?
Shukr Khan, can you read?
Yes, I was number 3. Okay. Now, this is the time that you may arise and perform this most great service and become the cause of the guidance of innumerable souls. Thus, through this superhuman service, the rays of peace and conciliation may illumine and enlighten all the region and the world of humanity may find peace and composure. Abdul Baha.
Not from sacrifice, no penance, no gift giving, no with prayer shall and behold me. Only by fullest service, perfect faith, and uttermost surrender am I known and seen and entered into. who doth all for me, who findeth me in all, adoreth always, loveth all which I have made, and loveth me for love's sole end. That man unto me doth bend. Strive constantly to serve the welfare of the world by devotion to selfless work. One attains the supreme goal in life. Do your work with the welfare of others always in mind. At the beginning, mankind and the obligation of selfless service were created together. Through selfless service, you will always be fruitful and find the fulfillment of your desires. This is the promise of the Creator. Hinduism Bhagavad Gita.
Make haste in doing good. Check your mind from evil. For the mind of him who is slow in doing meritorious actions delights in evil. Should a person commit evil, he should not do it again and again. He should not find pleasure therein. Painful is the accumulation of evil. Should a person perform a meritorious action, he should do it again and again. He should find pleasure therein. Blissful is the accumulation of merit. Buddhist scriptures. Dhammapada.
Know ye ought that God give life to the head. After it did already restore the sign plainly to you, that ye may learn wisdom for those who give in charity. Men and women are loaned to God, a beautiful loan. It shall be increased manifold. To their credit, they shall have beside a liberal reward. The Holy Quran.
Do nothing from selfishness or conceit, but in humility count others better than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Christianity. Philippians. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again, and your reward shall be great. And ye shall be the children of the highest. For he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Christianity, Luke.
It is incumbent upon every man of insight and understanding to strive to translate that which hath been written into reality and action. That one indeed is a man who today dedicates himself to the service of the entire human race. Be anxiously concerned with the needs of the age ye live in, and center your deliberations on its exigencies and requirements. Baha'u'llah Baha'i Scriptures.
Oh God, my
thy trusted servants to have loving and tender hearts. Help them to spread amongst all the nations of the earth the light of guidance that cometh from the company on high. Verily, thou art the strong, the powerful, the mighty, the all-subduing, the ever-giving. Verily, thou art the generous, the gentle, the tender, the most bountiful.
Thank you for reading all those Holy Scripture selections. But what we forgot is Shadi was going to do the acknowledgement of indigenous people. Maybe you could do that first, and then I introduce you.
Thank you very much, Ahmad. I'm speaking to you today from Burwood in New South Wales, Australia. And I wanted to acknowledge the Wangal people as the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which I live and work, and I'm speaking with you from today. And I'd like to acknowledge their elders, past, present, and emerging, and also the many wonderful contributions that our Indigenous Australians have been making and continue to make for thousands of years in caring for the land, in sharing knowledge and custodianship of the land. And I am very grateful and thankful to be able to acknowledge their significant contribution today.
Okay. Now, the readings that we read, all of them from different holy scriptures, were regarding service to humanity. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me introduce our today's speaker. I have known her for a long time as a friend, as a Baha'i. Shadi is an artist and a world citizen who is interested in social justice and moral and spiritual education of children. Shadi as well has is a qualified lawyer and has worked in government administration and in the Baha'i administration as well. Welcome, Shadi. And the topic of today is the meaning and significance of dreams and interfaith perspective. So on share now, and you can share your presentation and start. The place is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Ahmad, for that wonderful introduction. And I'm going to begin sharing my screen. So please just let me know if you can see what I'm sharing with you at the moment. You should be seeing a slide that says meaning and significance of dreams. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
If you want to put it on full screen, you're welcome, but I mean, it's okay.
Is this, are you able to see now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is something that I have been fascinated with my whole life. An essential element of the human condition, the human experience, is that across cultures, across countries, across millennia, we all sleep and we all dream. So what do our dreams mean? And do they have spiritual significance? The wonderful thing about our Interfaith Forum here this evening is that different religious and spiritual traditions offer clues to the meaning and the significance of dreams. And there are so many commonalities. I'm going to briefly introduce the different types of approaches that different value systems can take in relation to dreams. And this is my understanding. So I'm prefacing this with, this is my understanding of the significance of dreams in these different religious, spiritual traditions. And if you are aware of something and you would like to add or clarify, you will be most welcome to share your insights. And we can also have a consultation about our respective understandings a little bit further along the presentation. And since we acknowledge the country that I am speaking from as belonging to the Wangal people, I would like to begin this presentation by discussing the significance of dreams in Indigenous spirituality. And you may have heard of the dream time as part of the creation stories of the Indigenous people. And dreams are quite significant in Indigenous spirituality. Dreams can be sacred messages from ancestors, spirits, or nature, guiding our harmony with the spiritual realm. And as I read through these different approaches or understandings of what dreams mean, we'll begin to see some commonalities, some similarities. In Islam, dreams can be classified in different ways. They can be true dreams, false dreams, and the true dreams, the roya, are divine messages offering guidance and insight. In Christianity, dreams can be viewed as God's communication, a medium for prophecy, guidance, and spiritual reflection, as seen in many biblical stories. In Judaism, dreams can similarly be seen as divine connections or reflections, with examples in the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, and the Talmud, which emphasize different interpretations for spiritual growth. In Hinduism, likewise, dreams can symbolize spiritual states and karmic lessons, seen as part of consciousness and often carrying divine messages. In Buddhism, dreams can reflect the illusory nature of reality and also serve as tools for meditation, mindfulness, and spiritual awakening. And in the Baha'i faith, the religious tradition that I am most familiar with, dreams can reveal truths and guidance inaccessible in waking life, leading to spiritual growth. So what is the commonality between the approach to dreams and dreaming in these different religious traditions and spiritual traditions? One commonality could be said to be a recognition that our true reality is not merely material. Our true reality is spiritual. And that dreams are powerful symbols of our spiritual reality. So what is the meaning of our dreams? I'm sure anyone who's had the experience of having a particularly vivid dream or powerful dream, a meaningful dream that was important to them, may perhaps at some stage in their life have wondered, what do dreams mean? What does this dream mean in particular? But what do dreams mean more generally? And I'd like to share with you some of the Baha'i writings with respect to dreams that may shed light on the different elements and different meanings that come to light when we look at our dreams. I'd like to share with you a story which is classified as a pilgrim's note from someone who had the bounty of being in Abdu'l-Baha's presence and heard him describing 3 types of dreams to some pilgrims who had come to see him. There are 3 kinds of dreams. One is a true vision, which is even as the morning light and has no need of interpretation. Exactly what is seen, the same thing occurs. But most people generally do not receive this kind of dream. In the period of every person's life, it may chance to happen that one's heart and mind are free and clear. Then whatever the spirit discovers conforms to the reflection obtained. This is a true vision and needs no interpretation. It is reality. The second kind of dream is that requiring interpretation. When a spiritual journey is attained, it must be interpreted and false thoughts must be separated from spiritual discoveries. Another kind of dream is the confused dream. For example, during the day, a man becomes engaged in a quarrel and dispute. Later, in the world of the dream, these same circumstances appear to him. This is a confused dream. It has no interpretation and contains no discoveries. In a wonderful book called The Seven Valleys, Baha'u'llah wrote, "One of the created phenomena is the dream. Behold how many secrets are deposited therein, how many wisdoms treasured up, how many worlds concealed." In the same book, The Seven Valleys, Baha'u'llah described what we may often refer to as a déjà vu experience, or dreams that later come to pass in our waking state. Baha'u'llah writes, "Observe how thou art asleep in a dwelling, and its doors are barred. On a sudden thou findest thyself in a far-off city, which thou enterest without moving thy feet or wearying thy body. Without using thine eyes thou seest, without taxing thine ears thou hearest, without a tongue thou speakest. And perchance, when 10 years are gone, thou wilt witness in the outer world the very things thou hast dreamed tonight." So in this same passage, Baha'u'llah mentions two worlds, the waking world or the outer world, and the inner world or the world of sleep and dreams. And he asks us, first, what is this world without eye and ear and hand and tongue? A man puts all of these to use. Second, how is it that in the outer world thou seest the effect of the dream when thou didst envision it in the world of the dream some 10 years past? As the passage continues, Baha'u'llah encourages each of us to ponder, consider the difference between the two worlds and the mysteries which they conceal, that thou mayest attain to divine confirmations and heavenly discoveries and enter the regions of holiness. Now, this is a beautiful promise of 3 benefits that Baha'u'llah offers from us pondering and reflecting on our dreams. The first benefit that we can attain is if we consider the difference between the two worlds, the waking world and the inner world of dreams, and the mysteries that they conceal, we can attain divine confirmations. The second promise is that we can attain heavenly discoveries. And then the third beautiful promise is that we can enter the regions of holiness. And all of this just by considering the difference between the world of dreams and the waking world, the outer world, and the mysteries that they conceal. Another question that we often ask ourselves or we think about in relation to our children is, why do we have good and bad dreams? And again, Abdu'l-Baha, one of the central figures of the Baha'i faith, explained that the human spirit has 2 modes of operation and understanding. One mode is through the mediation of bodily instruments and organs. For example, the spirit uses the ears to hear and the eyes to see the physical world. Spiritual traveling, our spirit's second mode of operation, doesn't require these organs and limbs. For example, we still hear, taste, touch, see, feel, and move in our dreams without our physical bodies. The dream world helps us understand the abilities, these spiritual abilities, and the immortality of the human spirit, and the freedom we will have once we leave this physical realm. Abdu'l-Baha said, "This body is even as the cage, and the spirit is like the bird. We observe that this bird, unencumbered by its cage, soars freely in the world of sleep. Therefore, should the cage be broken, the bird would not only continue to exist, but its senses would be heightened, its perception would be expanded, and its joy would grow more intense." So, in that vein, one of the reasons why we have dreams is to connect with our angels and ancestors. As we spiritually travel in the dream world, we can connect with the spirits of our loved ones who have passed away. And you may have had, and will have opportunities to discuss, you may have shared with your loved ones a powerful dream in which you saw your grandparents or other ancestors or family members who are deceased. And Abdu'l-Baha talks about this experience. Again, for instance, a person is dead, is buried in the ground, Abdu'l-Baha explained. Afterwards, you see him in the world of dreams and speak with him, although his body is interred in the earth. Who is the person you see in your dreams, talk to, and who also speaks with you? This again proves that there is another reality, different from the physical one, which dies and is buried. Another reason that we have dreams, and it harks back to that beautiful quote from Baha'u'llah about heavenly discoveries, is that we have dreams to solve problems. So the Baha'i writings encourage us to pray for our loved ones who have passed away, because when we are in a receptive attitude, they can make suggestions to us when we are in difficult situations. And this sometimes happens while we're sleeping. Abdu'l-Baha said, "The soul journeys, perceives, senses. It often happens that a man in a state of wakefulness has not been able to accomplish the solution of a problem, and when he goes to sleep, he will reach that solution in a dream." And this is what happened to the chemist who devised the periodic table. He was having trouble creating a pattern that connected the chemical elements until he came up with the idea in his dreams. He wrote, "I saw in a dream a table where all the elements fell into place as required. Awakening, I immediately wrote it down on a piece of paper." We can also have good and bad dreams to predict the future. As the Baha'i writings say, awake, the eye sees only a short distance, but in the realm of dreams, one who is in the east may see the west. Awake, he sees only the present. In sleep, he beholds the future. Now, not all dreams are terribly meaningful. We can also have bad dreams and nightmares if we're fatigued or fearful. And nightmares can be triggered by many factors, including sleep deprivation, stress, anxiety, medications, sometimes too much screen time, and even scary movies. Certain foods and the timing of our meals can also impact our sleep and our dreams. Now, the Seven Valleys by Baha'u'llah some of which I shared with you earlier, contains many beautiful insights into the realities and meanings of our sleep and of our dreams. In this mystical work, Baha'u'llah describes the stages of the soul's journey to union with its creator in terms of 7 valleys of search, love, knowledge, unity, contentment, wonderment, true poverty, and absolute nothingness. And so far, I've touched on how dreams can inspire creativity in scientists, but it's also fertile ground for artists. Iranian artist Maryam Ashkanian usually works in the medium of painting or sculpture. However, her hand-sewn fabric art, called the Sleep Series, has recently made an impression in the international art world. For this series, she chose the finest cloth as a basis for pillows. On this collection of pillows, this artist embroidered portrayals of sleeping people. And this is because this artist understands dreams as a way of entering a broader universe. This is another artist, quite well known, Salvador Dali. You may have seen his work in museums, where a lot of his work was inspired by his dreams and have a very much a dreamlike quality. This particular work by Salvador Dali is called The Broken Bridge and the Dream. And we can see how he's pondering his mortality and the transience of human existence in this artwork, which was inspired by a dream. And before I conclude, I'd also like to share with you one of my artworks titled Immerse Yourselves in the Ocean of My Words. And the title of the artwork comes from one of the writings of Baha'u'llah from the Kitab al-Aqdas. However, the visual elements of the artwork, where you can see there are some fish and they're all attracted to a pearl and the center of the ocean. And this artwork was inspired by a dream, not my own dream, but a dream of Baha'u'llah's father when Baha'u'llah was a young child. And Baha'u'llah's father, Mirza Buzurg Nuri, had this very significant dream in which he saw his young son floating in the midst of the ocean, and all these beautiful multicolored fish attracted to the personage, the sacred personage of his son. And those fish in the ocean represented the people of the world. And he actually sought out a famous dream interpreter who predicted with great insight the meaning of this dream for the father of for the father of Baha'u'llah. And that dream and the sacred writings of Baha'u'llah have inspired this artwork, and many, many of my artworks are inspired by the mystical writings of the Bab and Baha'u'llah, such as the 7 valleys, which I shared with you earlier. And if you'd like to have some further information about why we have good and bad dreams from a Baha'i approach, I've shared a link there. And now I'd like to proceed with the concept of dreams as a valuable tool for interfaith dialogue. A woman by the name of Anna Droll is a researcher on interfaith connections. And she's researched how dreams and visions are very, very valuable to all the spiritual and religious traditions that humanity espouses. And she asked the question, how might dreams or vision experiences, narrations, and interpretations provide bridges for interfaith dialogue? And that's a question that I want to come back to when we commence our consultation. And my last slide for this evening are 3 more prompts for our consultation this evening. Have you had any significant dreams that you'd like to share? Do you have any experience with keeping a dream journal? And what do dreams mean in your spiritual or religious tradition or in your value system?
Okay, thank you, Shadi, for that beautiful talk. It gave me an idea that this creation, we have to open our vision to this creation. And there's more to it than what we see in this physical world. Now open it for questions and answers section. So please raise your hand when you want to ask a question or comment. Yung, you're first.
Shady, how are you?
Thank you.
Thank you for your beautiful artwork and your beautiful lectures. I'm just asking you just very limited question here. You know, in the area of laws, as you're very familiar with, let's say somebody who is a criminal got taken to the judge or the Supreme Court because he committed a very terrible act of murder somebody. And because I was in a Supreme Court to do my work, I mean, ages ago, then I learned that the judges and the Supreme Court judges and all the judges at the High Court, they only relied on evidence and facts. And factual job and action job, they don't rely on dreams or artworks or vision, because if the person said, oh, because I hear the voices, I had a dream, I did some drawing of, you know, Satan or Dracula. And so I was induced to do that sort of action that I was not having any control. The Supreme Court is not telling that person, the judge, we're not telling that person, no. If we can accept your explanation, we give you an excuse, but it will not be fair because you talk about social justice here. And the way we talk, it can be, you know, make the children misunderstood your message. The children, if we guide them that way, later on they become judges. And then they go to the court and people make excuses. Okay, look at my artwork. Because that's where the police look into the social media, look into your past action, drawing, poems, writing, you know, all that sort of thing. So they know what the background of the person is. So if you work in a high court or Supreme Court or other court, district court, there's no excuse on that. You cannot say that dreams is a vision and guiding me, do all that sort of thing. No excuse for that. So what is the use of that?
Thank you. And thank you for your sharing. And you actually reminded me of a time when I was working in the area of criminal prosecution. And of course, as you said, everything is based on evidence. And nobody talks about dreams or anything other than the physical reality. And I was working on a particular case where there was some negotiations taking place. And the lawyer from the opposite side had indicated to me that the client was ill and was in the last days of their life. And of course, sometimes some lawyers use this as a tactic, and so everyone takes it with a grain of salt. But I remember having a very profound dream, and this was the only time I've ever experienced this type of dream, where I was dreaming. It was around 4 a.m. and I had the experience that somebody visited me in the dream by the same name of the client on the other side and said, "Look after my wife and children." And then I put it out of my mind. I woke up, I went to work the next day, and on my telephone, there was a message from the lawyer from the other side that said, at 4 a.m., our client passed. I don't know what that means, but I just wanted to share with you in light of what your sharing was. Thank you.
But whatever you said, it cannot be taken into the judgment in the court case.
Absolutely, absolutely. But even lawyers dream. That's what I wanted to share. Even lawyers dream. And even people who in their professional lives are focused solely on evidence, the laws of the spiritual world also apply to lawyers, and lawyers dream too. I'm going to take the next question from dear Colin, and then Marina.
Actually, Marina is the next.
Oh, but sorry, my apologies. Marina first.
It's all right. Thanks for this talk. It was very nice. And I just want to say, I have had dreams where my father came and said a few things, and it was something I took his advice, and it worked well. And then I was talking to another person, and they said, if you have a dream and a person who came and said to do this or do that or whatever, if he is a person who has loved you and cared for you, take it as a good thing and go. But if it is a person who had arguments with you or didn't have a good relationship or whatever way, please do not take that. That's how, I mean, it's not, but I'm from a Christian faith believer. And I was thinking about all the dreams in the Old Testament Bible we have. Yes, there are stories which was given to Joseph and people in dreams, and it has worked. Yes,
absolutely. I was very much thinking of the dreams of Joseph when I was.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your sharing, dear Marina. And it is profoundly significant when we dream of, parents or grandparents. It is such a special experience. Yes, dear Colin.
Thank you, Shadi, for the talk. And I believe in significance of dreams because all the religions have taught it. But some people, and in fact, before this session, I did 30 seconds of research using Google. And there's not many TED Talks about the significance of dreams. There are other aspects of dreams. So I'm figuring that probably many people are like me, where the dreams are confused. Maybe if you can remember a bit of it, it's kind of funny to relate it. But also I don't have that good a memory. Maybe that's a good thing. So I'm wondering, am I missing out on something, or can I get the same kind of spiritual connection or divine guidance or anything while I'm not asleep? Like in a daydream?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, of course. This is just, I see it as a gift. It's a little special extra gift. And it's there specifically, even if you don't remember all your dreams, or if the memory of the dream is confused or patchy, when you wake up, at least you do remember the fact that you have dreamed. And you know the experience of being asleep in your dwelling and, without tongue, you're speaking. Without using your physical ears, you're hearing and listening. Without taxing your physical legs, you're moving. So that is a sign. In that, there is a sign for people to think about and consider the differences between the waking world and the dream world. And even if you just consider the mysteries of those differences, whether you remember the actual dream very well or not, it's my understanding that you can still partake of those three benefits that Baha'u'llah talked about in terms of divine confirmations, unraveling these heavenly discoveries, and the final, the promise of spiritual growth, essentially, is my understanding of the final promise in that passage from the Seven Valleys.
Thank you, Shadi.
Thank you.
Okay, Rosine is next.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much, Shadi, for the nice presentation. And I really appreciate your eloquence. And the presentation was really well done. Yes.
Thank you.
And when I saw you talking, before I heard about your introduction, I knew that you are somebody special.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you, Rosie.
Yeah. And I would like to use also this opportunity to share some experiences, because all you have said, it's the truth, and because I have experiences, many dreams in reality. One of the example, it's the Corona pandemic. I have dreamt of this pandemic in 2016.
Wow.
Yes, I came to Germany in 2015, and 2016 I had a dream about the Corona pandemic, but I couldn't say, like Jung said in the beginning, people, they need fact and evidences. And yeah, I didn't know what to say, what to do, but normally the reaction as a believer, when we see those kind of things in our dream, we have to pray to God. That's why Baha'u'llah or in other religions, we have special prayers, like prayer for protection, prayer for health, and etc. So what I have, I only do it just to keep in prayer, but I didn't speak to anybody to say what's gonna happen. And once the pandemic started, I had, it was 2020, and the dream was still in my memory, because it was really difficult for me to accept what happened there. And for me already, I knew what was the purpose of this pandemic. And in my dream, it was that the children, they were all protected by God, and nothing could happen to them. And after, when I heard from the medical that the kids, nothing is happening, I was like, oh my God. And then I told my family, I'm not going to get any vaccination, because I saw in my dream that it was a mistakes coming from the labor. That was in the dream when the pandemic started. The people, they were inside a labor, they were doing something, and a mistake come from there, and everybody was healed and dying. So I told my family, I don't want to get any vaccination, please. And by the end, after here, many doctors, they start to realize that the vaccine was not also good, and I say thanks to God. So that was only one of the dreams. But for example, when I have friends, like especially Baha'i friends or families, when somebody is going to pass away, I have always a dream 1 week or a few days before, and always, whatever I do, I pray, it's always happening. And for example, our birth, when, for example, I was pregnant of my daughter, I had a dream just a few days, and inside this dream, I heard the voices who tells me her name is Mona. And I never expected I had a daughter. And then I told my husband, I think I am pregnant, and this time it's a girl. And he says, no way, I don't believe. And I went to the doctor 1 week later, and the doctor told me, sorry, I cannot see because it's too early. And I wait 2 weeks later, they made a blood test, and they said, you are pregnant.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah,
And
but I don't want to say, sorry?
it's such a special experience, a spiritual experience being a mother and the soul of the child developing and the association, the close association between the soul of the child and the soul of the mother. Thank you for sharing your experiences. It's profound. I also, like you, have had occasionally those special dreams that do become a reality in the future. And I find that those dreams really help to solidify my faith in God. And they are something that I come back to, and I use those dreams to guide my actions in the waking world.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. Thank you too.
Thank you.
Okay, Pino, you're next.
Thank you. Shari June, Harley Mamnoon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Pina. So lovely to hear your voice.
Your wonderful presentation. Yes, dream. You know, it's not only dream, but as you are mentioning, there are those you see it is a vision.
Yes.
Yeah. So that can happen. The thing is, in my family, my father has that kind of an intuition. Whenever our neighbors have a dream, they will come to him for interpretation. And then sometimes they were just talking because he's a mechanic. So downstairs at our home, he does his work downstairs, and people come talk to him. He will do his work. He will talk to them, and even the religious groups, they come and talk to him. And because of that, overheard of that discussion, I became a Baha'i also. So then suddenly my father was telling, in few minutes, you will see a procession passing because someone has passed away.
Wow.
And it did happen.
Mm.
And they see it like that. So the more they believe in him, they come to him for the dream interpretation. Then I had a dream myself. I was young then. And I didn't want to tell my father because I was so scared. Because if you dream of wearing a black, it means death. So my father, I was anticipating my father would tell me somebody's going to die, or I'm going to die, or something like that. So I was keeping it, but I was so disturbed for a few days. I was so disturbed that finally I had to tell him. And you know what he said? Thank God I told him. He said, you dream of wearing black and you are posing for a photo and you are so happy in that dream. And he said, black is mystery and mystery is religious.
Oh,
spiritual.
wow. Wow.
He said it is spiritual. Because you are so happy, you are going to live a life with a gift of spirituality.
Oh,
oh my God, thank God I told him.
What a blessing.
I was so relieved. So then, of course, life goes on. And then I had another dream because I used to cycle to school, 7 kilometers to high school, going and coming, and 4 years to graduate. So I used to cycle. And I had a dream before I cycled in the morning, early morning, that somebody was going to hurt me or harm me, a boy. Then on my way back coming home, this somehow, because I was alone on the road, very few are cycling, some they go first or you come later. So this boy, I mean, he's a youth, he's in high school too. He was just following me behind. And then he was coming closer and closer. Then he was pointing at me. It's like a gun. It looks like a gun. Then I looked behind and I smiled. I think I smiled because I heard a story from the teacher in the high school that some ways of this youth what they are doing, the bad thing they are doing is that they get these toy guns and threaten this one lady with all her goods selling in the market. And she had to give away all her things because they have shown their gun. Something like that. Somehow I think it came to my mind that this youth, I think, is holding a toy gun. I think I smiled. And then you know what he said? Oh, today, I think you are not scared. We'll see tomorrow. From that time, I already planned that I don't cycle anymore, but I'm going to stay in another town to stay with my auntie, my grandmother. Sometimes he came and visited my high school too. I used to see him, but I never talked to him. I never told anyone because I was scared that that could be a basis for him to become more angry. So I do not want to stir that. So I was just calm. And so that happened. You see, in my dream it came, and it came in reality. And there is another one that wanting to be solved, as you mentioned, that dream can also be a cause to solve problems. So I had a dream that I need to go to a certain place to save my sisters. You know, there is something going to happen to her. And I traveled. You see, that dream has prompted me to think of it as real. And so I traveled. I went there to prevent that problem. And it was true. And I was there. And I was able to do something before it was too late. No, these are the things that without our knowledge, it's just our own experience that we are trying to share, whether it will be taken or believed or not. It doesn't really matter. What happens is that it has created a new learning that there is something that is spiritual, that is solving our problem through the spiritual means. If only we are open to it, it's going to happen. So actually, I have more and more of these dreams because when I was hospitalized in Singapore at the General Hospital, I had brain tumor. So I was very happy there because I was all the time sharing the message of the Baha'i faith. I took the opportunity and I asked my husband, go to the Baha'i Center in Singapore, buy me pamphlets, some books, simple books, and anything that I could share, maybe small prayer books that I could share to anyone. So he bought me all that. And so when I was going already in the intensive care, one of the nurses was so busy and running here, running there, and all this. I was just praying for all these people who are dying. And then she came to me and I said, I want to say a prayer for you. So I said the prayer in her language, that is in Tamil. And so she said, it's so beautiful. And then we talked more about the Baha'i faith. And then she said, for now you are a patient. I don't think it's good for you to talk too much. So I stopped. Anyhow, after some time, when I had my own room already, she came back. Now I am your patient. I think you're a counselor, she said. No, I'm not. I'm just a Baha'i. I am a Baha'i, I said. So I explained to her. And we prayed. I shared to her a prayer book. And she was so happy because for that, she also confided in me about her problem. And I was able to share what, as Baha'is, what we should do. We say our prayers. We need guidance from God ourselves to be able to solve these problems. And so I was so happy all this while. I was telling to myself, if I could write again, I would write the name of Baha'u'llah in a big, big letter that they can see. So because my husband bought me a big piece of paper. So I wrote like a calligraphy, Baha'u'llah, the manifestation of God for this age. I just put in the corner of my bed. And then I arranged a little prayer book and pamphlets. And there is a small book that has a picture of the house of worship in India, the Lotus Temple. So when they came in the morning, the doctors and nurses, they come early morning and they go very fast. They just say, how are you? And I say, okay, okay, everything okay. Then they go. So this time I had my display. And one said, I have been to this temple. I went to this temple in India. One was telling. So I said, I want to thank for all your good work. Now I'm okay. I feel better. I have a prayer book. So I gave each one the small prayer book. And I have something special for the doctor, a small poem that I wrote. So I wrote, it says, the fragrance of your fame scattered far and wide, that made this ailing maiden rushed to your side. The head that need be healed, trusted in thy hands, God's mighty loving hands, they work through thine. He said, I'm just an ordinary person. He said, all of us are, I said. But when God make us an instrument, he will work through us. So, and then they left, all gone.
That was so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we share a special connection, which I wasn't aware of, dear Pina, because you named two places that are very dear to my heart. I have lived for some years in Singapore, and I loved visiting and having feasts and celebrations at the Singapore Baha'i Center. And I also offered some service when I was quite young at the Baha'i House of Worship in New Delhi, which is one of the best experiences of my life. So thank you so much for reminding me of those beautiful memories and for sharing your special dreams with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, while we are waiting for others to raise their hands and ask you a question, but it's already 8:30. I have two questions to ask you. One is that Baha'u'llah says, pure souls that have passed away from this life guide the civilization in this physical world. And I was just wondering whether the dreams is one way, because there's so many people that have discovered, important things in this physical world through dreams. So perhaps dreams are the ways where these pure souls guide us through this physical world. I'm wondering whether you agree with that. My other question is, there are certain people that say they're dream interpreters, and I'm wondering how far we should rely on their interpretations of these dreams.
Thank you. Two really excellent questions. And the first question related to the influence of pure and holy souls who have passed and their ability to act as a leaven for the civilization on earth and the scientific knowledge and inspiration for the arts. And absolutely, I believe that dreams are one way. The other way is through meditation and prayer. So in all of these states, in the prayer state, Baha'u'llah talks about praying for them as they pray for us. There's a commingling of stations, a commingling of realities. When we are in that state of prayer, we are really opening ourselves up to inspiration, whether we're seeking inspiration about solving a physical problem, as dear Pina was sharing, or whether we're wanting to solve a scientific problem, or whether we want inspiration for the creative arts. And so prayer, meditation, and doing both those things just before we fall asleep is also very conducive to receiving suggestions in our dreams. That is my understanding. And there, in fact, in the Baha'i writings, there are special prayers to be recited before sleep in order to have dreams and visions. that can help us grow spiritually. And there is also a special prayer to be said after disturbed dreams. So if we have had something occur where we're feeling out of balance physically or emotionally, and we have had a disturbed dream, there is a beautiful prayer that I can share with you that helps us to recover emotionally and physically and spiritually from disturbed dreams. Thank you for your questions.
Okay. I'm wondering whether anybody else, we have Vasanta didn't speak at all, Tracy, Jiva, UATT. So if you have any, even if you don't have questions and you want to say something, please raise your hand.
Thank
but
you
we
very
have
much,
Rose.
Shadi. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Santa, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Shadi. It's very informative, but my dreams hardly come true, and I don't remember it in the morning as well. It's really sometimes confusing. Maybe I'll try to say prayers before I go to bed and just before, and also if I have disturbed dream. So thank you very much, and for the presentation. It's really good. Thank you.
Okay, Yung has got her hands up again, so I'm wondering whether you would like to ask any questions.
Thank you,
And
Martin.
Rosie.
Thank you, everyone. I had a dream. I don't know if you will think it's a dream or what I said is a story. A person who was alive, he act like a scientist. He believed no God. He will never get into any worship place, or he doesn't believe in God whatsoever. And he is he was a professor. So he's highly intellectual. He studied Latin, Greek, and all that sort of languages. And then he passed away at the old age. He was a scholar anyway. And then I dreamed I met him in a very spiritual church, like Gothic, crystal, brightness, just like in a snow area. And I stepped into that church and I said, this is heaven, because the atmosphere of the church is like Gothic, crystal, and beautiful and everything. And you can see that you meet the higher spiritual beings in there. You meet one. And so I saw that person step around. I said, well, you already passed away, haven't you? And then, what I'm telling you, you said in your talk, you said dreams can reveal truth. But the truth here, the person is a scientist, he's a non-religious person. So you actually don't have to be religious. And when you pass away, you get into heaven. So you don't need to be spiritual to step into heaven. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I think there is many religious traditions that talk about that moment, the hour of death, and the transformation that can take place in a soul at the hour of death. And the Baha'i writings say, don't look down on someone you consider a sinner and think yourself superior to them, because at the moment of death, a person that didn't believe in God may attain to faith and love and enter the kingdom of heaven. And the person that did believe in God may fall into the nethermost fire. So we constantly need to be focused on our own development and be loving and compassionate towards every single human being that we encounter. I've also met in my life great thinkers and scientists who simultaneously have believed in God and in science. And the message, one of the central messages of the Baha'i faith, is that there is harmony between science and religion. So it is possible for scientists to, during their lifetime or at the moment of their passing, to attain to faith. So that may have been what happened to your friend, who was obviously in an amazing state spiritually when you encountered them in the realm of dreams. That's my interpretation of what happened in that case.
Here's the thing, but for me, it was not a dream, because the first question I told him, I said, you already passed away, haven't you? Yeah. And when I look at him, he's just like a real person. The face is pink. It was in a church. He was the only one step out, and a crystal church, and it's beautiful. And I said, am I stepping to heaven? And I know this person is, not religious. And I know that because he worked like a scientist. Thank you.
Okay, Shufu first.
Yes, please.
Do we have time?
As much as Shadi wants to
Yes,
say.
please go ahead. Please go ahead. I have time for one last question.
Okay, I will be very brief. Thank you for your interesting presentation, Shadija. I was thinking that some of the dreams that we might call it confused, and it's because of the events that is happening around us, and might have a meaning and might guide us as well. I experienced when the revolution started in Iran, my son was very young, around 2-3 months. And it was a lot of upheaval in Iran, and a lot of Baha'is were in trouble. One night I slept after Puya, was very restless, and I handed to my father, and then I went to sleep, and I had a dream that I never forget. I dreamt that I'm looking at the sky, beautiful, northern hemisphere, black sky with all the shining stars and the moonlight, not a full moon, but a bright and nice moon. And as I was looking and enjoying everything that I was seeing on the vast sky, all of a sudden, I saw that the moon was melting, coming down, and one by one, those big stars coming, just disappearing, or like it's coming down and then vanishing. And within a very short period of time, the sky was as black as anything. It was very frightening. So I woke up, and it was, I don't know, I shouldn't say, it was frightening, what I saw. And God bless his soul, my father was around, awake. And he said, why are you awake? I'm looking after him. And I said, I had this dream. And he said that it is a very profound dream that you had, of course, is rooted in what is happening around us, but also show us that it's going to get worse than what it is. So you can think about your dream. Probably you would like to change your plan for, your life. Sometimes dreams just telling us something that we, just looking at it, we don't see that. And later on, after, I'm not saying all about that dream, but that dream shook me. And then when I was talking to the family and everybody shook everybody, that, probably that's why we are here. It was a lot of other reasons, but, and of course, the future of that country hasn't been brighter. It's got worse and worse. So even small dreams, confused dreams, originated from what is happening around us, can be very powerful.
Thank you so much for sharing that dream and the vivid imagery of the stars and the moon melting and falling from the sky. I had another thought while you were speaking, and that is that in the Islamic traditions, the sun and the moon had particular meanings. And one of the meanings was in relation to the stars, relates to the clergy and the Islamic clergy from time to time, or from the religious clergy. And so it's interesting that you saw stars falling from the sky or going black, because one interpretation could be how people who had been guiding the sheep or the humanity, then for whatever reason, as individuals or collectively, their light has been extinguished, in the sense that they are no longer guiding the people or guiding humanity.
That's very interesting too.
I just want to say something. I read this morning a quotation that I've got it on my mobile phone that kind of answers what Jung was talking about, the professor. The Baha'u'llah says, the understanding of holy writings has no connotation to the present or physical knowledge or intelligence, but it is dependent on the purity of heart, purity of self, and the detachment of the soul. And people that are not intellectually intelligent probably could have these things and discover the writings, the holy writings, in the pure way. So the holy writings have something different. It does not, is not dependent on intelligence. It's to do with the heart.
Thank you very much, everyone. That was such a wonderful session. I really appreciate everyone who was able to participate. And if there's any final comments or questions, particularly from anyone who hasn't spoken and who would like to offer the perspective of their own value system or religious traditional system and their understanding of dreams, I would love to put aside a few minutes now to hear from those perspectives as well.
Yeah, we have Sachi, Jiva.
Maybe Tracy can tell us more about the indigenous dream or dream story.
Yeah.
Tracy, are you able to say something?
You
have a lot to say. Huh?
I don't feel qualified to speak on. I just know that it's very important, and powerful insights that come from the spiritual world through animals, through dreams, to indigenous people, is something that we can really all inherit from. But also dreams have been very powerful in my life to, at certain moments, to redirect me or to make certain, important decisions, that I've had a significant dream beforehand. And so thank you, Shadi, for your respect towards the dreaming. And I appreciate your acknowledgement that you gave earlier too. And I appreciate your bringing our attention to the spiritual influence upon us that is very personal and very, very important for us to take seriously. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for your kind comments and also for sharing your personal experiences. And do you feel that there is value in such a forum, in an interfaith forum, about looking at dreams from an interfaith perspective?
Yeah, I think so. I liked at the start, you said we all dream, we all sleep, and we're all having activity for that period of time, every day. So it's something that just like we all breathe, we all need to have water. We may have different names for it in different languages, but we all are spiritual, and we're all having that sort of unconscious activity, spiritual activity during a significant amount of time every day. So it's a good way that we can find a common bond underneath the religious traditions, that we are a common humanity, and we can meet each other on the inside. We might all dream about each other tonight.
Wonderful. I love the way that you phrased that. Thank you so much for sharing those insights.
Yeah, there's one question, Shady. One question, one last one.
Jung, hang on. I think Jiva wants to say something because he hasn't spoken.
Yes, thank you, Sadie, about your presentation. Actually, talk about the dreams, and then I have a lot of things parallel with what you are saying, and I have a still I remember childhood. I was had a dream about 5 years old. Still remember that, and also about 5, 6, 7 years ago, I had a stroke. Before the stroke, I had a dream that reality is come true. That's underlying. So what is going to happen? So that's the way I had a dream. So that is end up with now.
Yes.
Thank you, Jiva. Jiva never talks, but he's talking. He is Siva's brother from Canada.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, Jung, you were saying something.
Yes, Shady, there's a question for you and for everyone in this meeting. Have you ever dreamed that you float in the air, like flying from here to there by yourself, by your physical body, without any help? And
I do that a lot, dreaming, flying from houses to houses.
yeah, like from the roof of one house to the other and play around up the sky and elevation and everything.
Yes. Yes, I'm seeing Tracy has said that she does, and I'm seeing many other people nodding and agreeing. That seems to be a common.
I'm joining the dream now.
and nothing to do with bipolar. I mean, like people said, oh, that person might have bipolar, but it's not. That because if your high spiritual advancement, then people they could not sleep at nighttime. At nighttime, their soul went out and flew around like Buddha.
Wow.
I've been told actually that the interpretation for this is that you progress in life, or you elevate, your life is going to be elevated because of those jumps that you have in your dreams.
Thank you, Yun, but I never had a dream like that. But it's a bit different from to a dream, but we have a friend who said that in the middle of the night, he leaves the body and he goes to a different place from the capital, Colombo to Jaffna. Then he goes and sees his family, and then he comes back into the body. That leaving the body experience, shared with us, but I don't know what explanation is there for it. But
some people call it lucid dreaming, and they direct what happens in their dreams. And apparently it takes some practice, but they can change the ending of your dreams. If you have a recurring dream, you can change the ending. Some people believe this and they practice this. And some people believe that they can visit friends and family in the realm of dreams.
But he says it's a very scary experience. He didn't want to have it because when he get back into the body shakes and everything. but that is apart from the dream, something different.
I had a special dream, and then that was in one of my dreams. I was lying flat on a bed, and suddenly a number of people came around me on each side and kind of lifted me in their hands up in the air for I don't know, a meter or so up in the air, and that was a strange dream that I saw in my sleep, and I woke up and I remember it.
Well, you were lucky then.
I don't know what the interpretation is.
I have a question for dear Jiva. I
Yes.
was wondering, how did that make you feel, or what were your thoughts when what you saw in the realm of dreams became a reality, as you phrased it? Was that affirming of your belief in something other than just the material existence, or how did that impact your life?
Yeah, it has an impact on my life. It means experience reality. I am not dreaming like a nothing. Okay, it's a reality is happening to me. Nobody's showing to me or telling to me is going to happen. It has happened about a month ago. Okay, so that dreams after that I had a surgery. Then I was in hospitalized for 3 months. Then I came back. So it give me the faith and also the belief in God. That's it.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Okay, the two people that haven't talked is Sachi and Sivalinga. If you have anything to say, please open your microphone and say something. Anyway, it's 8:54 now, and my name is Shadi wants to go get the children.
I would love to hear from Mr. Sivalingam if he is available. His camera is on, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, muted, Siva.
Muted.
You're muted, Siva. Oh. Sivalingam, you're muted. We can't hear you.
I think you're speaking, Mr. Sivalingam. Now is better. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. No, I know everybody will get dream once in a way, and all of us dream. And some of the dream come true, but sometimes we remember one or two dreams very well. And very well, and then you forget about it. And then something happened, you remember you foresaw this event. That's all I can say. Thank you.
I had another dream that I'd like to say something. They say this dream interpretation is that you get some money in your, and that's when you dream discovering gold coins or something precious in your dream. And I've been told that when you see this dream, it means that you become wealthier physically.
Wonderful. Yes, it's interesting. The realm of psychology and anthropology and theology, so many different areas of what could be classified as science or the study of humanity from a systematic perspective. They've also done a lot of research on sleep and dreams, and also neuroscientists. So it's interesting to hear from the faith perspective the significance, and also from the spiritual, indigenous spiritual perspective, what the significance and meaning of dreams means to different individuals, to different societies. And in conclusion, I think that there's so many commonalities between our human experience of dreaming that can lead to growth. It can lead to personal development. It can lead to spiritual development. And it can also, in the realm of discoveries and science and inspiration for the arts, lead to our collective evolution as societies. Thank you very much. Mrs. Perry.
Thank you. Sorry, before you said you are going to share the prayers. Maybe you can share it separately and then.
Yes, I will share it
and
separately.
then I can share it in the group. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will do that. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Shadi, for your
you.
talk, and
Ave
it was
Maria.
beautiful discussion today. And I think sleep is for resting this physical body, but because there is dream in this sleep, that's a sign that there are extra dimensions in this existence, and we have other worlds of God that we ponder into.